Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? Welcome back. I thought we could go ahead and do a Q&A because I feel like it has been a while since I last did one. So I asked y'all on Instagram as well as the YouTube community tab to ask me some questions, and I'm going to be answering as many as I can for y'all today. So let's just go ahead and jump right on in. Okay, so the very first question, I'm not going to say everyone's name just because I did not ask for permission to share, and the questions on Instagram are not anonymous, but they are private. So the first question is, what are your favorite foundations at the moment? So currently my two favorite foundations would be these two right here, the Kosas Revealer Skin Improving Foundation, Broad Spectrum SPF 25, and this is the shade Very Light Neutral 100, and then also the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation, and that is in the shade LG1. I feel like these both have a very similar vibe, very dewy, kind of more of like light medium coverage, just very natural, pretty foundations on the skin, not cakey at all. Both of these are amazing if you have dry skin, so I have been reaching for them nonstop. Okay, so moving on to the next question, getting into something a little bit more personal. They asked, how does Roman get along with your boyfriend? And honestly, they get along really well. I feel like when we first started dating, there was a little bit of an adjustment because it has always ever just been Roman and I, and he was not used to having like someone else that I was giving attention to, and you know, like having a man around. I would say they get along really, really well. He looks up to him so much, so it's very sweet. The next question is, how are you doing with driving anxiety? Which is a pretty good question. I told you I got into an accident. It's been almost a year, and I would say that my driving anxiety is definitely still very present. I am a much more cautious driver now. Like, I do not want to be around other cars. Like, if there's another car in front of me, like, there's so much space between us. My stomach still has that sinking feeling sometimes when I see a car in front of me braking. And, you know, if I'm like driving in a lot of traffic, it does make me anxious. It's kind of interesting because I was actually talking about this the other day, that like when I think about like the impact of a car, like I can still feel that feeling in my body. I feel like that's where like my anxiety resonates from, because it was painful and it was just such a terrible feeling, and like feeling all that impact against you, that like I feel like, you know, sometimes you're anxious about things, and like I've always been anxious about driving, but now that I have like a painful physical memory attached to it, it's just different. It's a work in progress. The next question is, how has the move been? Are your son and cat adjusting well? Move is going good, even though it's like only halfway, because you know, it's been a whole thing. I had my own place, my boyfriend had his own place. We were looking for a home to get together, and in the meantime, because it's been crazy, we decided to just live at his place for a little while. So we're about to move again, like fully. So it's about to get very hectic again, but it's been going well. My cat actually has had literally no issues adjusting whatsoever, because her whole life she has gone back and forth between my apartment and his apartment, and she's always been great like with traveling and like going back and forth. She doesn't get weird when she's at a new place like some cats do. Actually, whenever I'm out of town, I drop her off at my parents' house. She's really, really happy there too. So yeah, no issues whatsoever, and Roman's awesome. He's very, very excited. Okay, so the next question is, are you over YouTube? Question mark. Miss your videos, but I also understand life happens, and I'm not over YouTube, but low-key I feel like YouTube is over me, and I feel like I'm just on the struggle bus. I've been trying to make content, and I know I haven't been making as much as I used to, but like I feel like I've been like slightly more consistent, you know, posting at least 1 to 2 videos every week, and literally every time I post, I'm just losing subscribers. My views are down, which is fine, but it's just like I've just been constantly like going back and forth in subscribers. I hit 38,000 like forever ago, and now I'm underneath it again. So I don't know what's happening there, but I'm not over it. I'm still trying. So the next question is, how is work and how do you do your makeup for work? My main work is still YouTube. My little side gig is a work from home thing, so I don't do my makeup any different from that. The way that you guys see me wear my makeup all the time is the way that I wear my makeup. I actually do have a goal of something I really want to start doing as like a little side gig. But it's another thing where I would be working from home. I'm really excited about it. I don't want to talk about it too much because, you know, you like don't want to talk about things before you're ready, but yeah, I'd also still be working from home. Would you want to get any more tattoos? The answer is 1000% yes. There's so many tattoos that I want. Currently at the top of my list, I have a tattoo right here, which is Treat People with Kindness. I got it a few years ago. I love it. It's my Harry Styles inspired tattoo. But what I've always wanted to do and what I'm ready to do is to add on to it more. I'm not sure exactly how, but I really want to like add flowers around it or something and like kind of build onto it and make it more aesthetic and, you know, but I'm a little bit nervous just because it's about this area, and like when I had this tattoo right here, it was so painful. So I'm a little nervous, but that is something I really want to do. And then I also have a plan for a tattoo. I think I want to do somewhere on my forearm here. It's kind of been like wanting to save and get more tattoos, but also there's so much going on that it's like not a priority. And also I didn't want to get any more tattoos during summer because I wanted to swim and go to the beach and have fun. And unfortunately a tattoo, and that is not, it's not the vibe. This next question says, how do you love indie brands but not get everything because of the hype? That is so hard to love indie makeup and like talk yourself down from buying everything, because I feel like it can be just very tempting to like continue to purchase everything that you think would be good, and like being like, oh, I'm purchasing from all these small businesses. Like it's really nice, but also like I have done so much better at this the last few months. I think you just have to remember like it's good to like have some splurges. Like if you have the room and your budget, whatever, like that's awesome. But also like makeup's not the only important thing in my life. I have goals, I have hopes and dreams, but being honest, what helps a lot also is that a lot of the products that I would purchase, that I would love from brands I'm obsessed with, they do tend to send me their launches in PR. It makes sense. The brands I always buy from, they were my favorite brands. I bought from them for so long. Now they send it to me so that I can do content because I would have purchased it either way. So I feel like I have worked up to receiving that PR. But if I didn't, I would definitely be spending a lot more money on indie brands. This next question says, what is your top 2 favorite indie eyeshadow palettes ever? That is so hard. That is mean. That's just mean. How am I supposed to choose 2? I don't know if I can only do 2, but I would say that the Kaledios and AMYLOVES Club Nebula palette, definitely top tier, one of my favorite, most used indie eyeshadow palettes. I actually don't have it with me right now because when I was packing and I was like choosing a specific amount of palettes, I was like, you know what, you've done so many tutorials with this, just put it away for a few months, it's okay. I already regret that decision. I'm already missing it. But from what I have around me right now, I would say I've just been loving the Sydney Grace Tiny Marvels palette. Their collaboration with Mel Thompson so much. I mean, I feel like you guys can see like it's pretty well used. I've brought this on multiple little trips. I reach for it all the time, and I just love the formula of everything in this palette. I think it's such a pretty color story. It's, I don't know, it's perfectly me. I feel like I also have to say the Blend Bunny Blends palette, like it's just been my favorite rainbow matte palette. It's like color story. It doesn't necessarily do anything super different than other palettes, but at the same time it has so many amazing matte shades. It has everything I need from like a rainbow perspective. This next question says, if you were a dog, what breed would you be? But I don't even know. I feel like I'm always terrible at questions like this, or when people are like, what animal would you be? I'm like, I don't know. All right, this next question says, your dream job when you were a little kid. Mine was a zookeeper. That's super cute. I would say I feel like my dream job used to be being an author, I used to love writing short stories. Like I was the person who would be in class and like instead of doing my homework or whatever, like I would just be writing some like romantic love story based in like middle school. It's kind of silly. I found some of my old work like looking back, and I think it's pretty funny. And still to this day, like sometimes I dabble in like writing a little something and then I'm like, I don't even know what to do with this. So I feel like it's like a dream that I haven't fully let go of, but that's probably like the number one thing I can think of that when I was a kid, like was a dream job to me. The next question says, did you pick up any shades from the Cleona launch? And I did not. Honestly, I was overwhelmed because there are so many beautiful shades that I just kind of like skipped over it. Is that sad? Like I watched review videos and I was just like, oh, they're all so pretty. I love them all so much. But I skipped. And also I know that Cleona tends to take a while to ship things out, and I'm like about to be changing addresses again, and I do know what my next address is, but I wouldn't have known when the launch happened. So that was also taken into consideration. All right, the next question says, what's your least favorite part of your makeup routine and your favorite? Least favorite is brows. Favorite is probably, I want to say either eyeshadow, because, you know, eyeshadow is just the most creative part to me. I love doing my eyeshadow, but also I feel like just base products in general, like applying foundation and concealer and using different glow products in them has been a favorite for me recently, just because I feel like it's so satisfying and it's so dewy. It makes me happy. The next question says, what are your favorites at the moment? Palette, lip, fragrance, etc. So I feel like I kind of talked about my current favorite palette. I would probably just say Tiny Marvels. My current favorite fragrance is Ariana Grande God is a Woman. It's just so good. I love it. I actually like low-key. I've been hinting. I feel like I'm not really the person to hint at gifts, but my boyfriend loves the scent of that perfume. Every single time I wear it, he's like, you smell so good. And the other day I saw that they came out with a whole line, and I was like, there's a body oil, there's a moisturizer. And I was like telling him about it, like low-key hinting, and he's like, oh, okay. So I don't know. I don't know if anything will come of it. I'll probably end up purchasing it myself, honestly, but that is my go-to fragrance right now. And then, what was that? The last one, lip. Ooh, actually I have an answer. This has been in my collection for a while, and I don't know why I just recently pulled it out, and I was like, I'm obsessed. The We Makeup So lip gloss in the shade 05. I want to say this is like called like Gertrude something. Like the name is kind of funny. It reminds me of like an old lady, but I love this lip gloss so much right now. It is such a beautiful, juicy, like your lips but better kind of shade. Love, love, love. And it's so comfy. So those were most of the questions from Instagram. I tried to skip over the ones that were a little bit repetitive, or the ones that didn't like just catch my interest as much, because I want you guys to be entertained during the video. So let's go ahead and jump on over to YouTube. I've already been filming for like over 20 minutes though, so we're gonna try and keep this a little bit more short. So there's one question that says, what are your tips on using single multi-chrome eyeshadows, especially how to wear them and make them last? Honestly, my biggest recommendation would be to use a glitter primer. I just feel like that's how to get them to last the longest. And another thing that I like to do with a lot of multi-chromes is, because most of them have a little bit of a deeper base, is to go in with a deeper matte shade through my crease and then the multi-chrome all over the lid. But I don't necessarily know that I have like a ton of tips. I feel like, you know, it really depends on each individual shadow, the type of shadow it is, the formula. But in general, that's what I would do. This next question, which I think is a cute one, is how did your love for makeup begin? And honestly, it began through YouTube, through finding like the OG beauty tutorials. I used to watch mostly, I would say, Jaclyn Hill and Marlene Estelle. And I just remember like having really terrible internet, and I would like leave videos to load for hours. And I was just like obsessed with watching makeup tutorials. I don't care how long they were. Like it could be like a whole hour talking through one eyeshadow look, and I would be there. And I just absolutely fell in love with it, because I never really had anyone in my life who wore a bunch of makeup or taught me how to do makeup. So I felt like YouTube kind of really inspired me, and that's how it all started. This next question says, how is your relationship going? Do you ever think you will bring him on camera? And do you see yourself still doing makeup videos in 3 years? I do see myself still doing makeup videos. I do not see myself bringing my partner on camera. I just feel like, I don't know, I just want to keep it private. I just want to, like, you know, what you don't show people, what you don't tell people in depth, they don't feel like they can have an opinion on. I also feel the same way about my son. I just want to keep the people close to me safe and protected. And then I feel like there was one more question I saw that really caught my attention. It's a little bit more of like a personal question, but also I felt like it was worth talking about because I'm sure there's other people who could be going through the same thing or who would relate. So they said, I don't know if it's too late or not, but I have a question, kind of personal. Don't answer if too much. So as someone who has also come out of an extremely abusive relationship and now found peace and love with another, do you find it difficult sometimes to express yourself with your new love out of a fear of being a weirdo or being perceived a certain way? And I do struggle with a lot, especially with communicating. And I think like the funny thing is that like I felt like I took the time to heal, and I took years. Like I was never in any serious relationship for a really long time, and I thought I was good. And then I got into this relationship, this healthy, loving, safe, secure relationship, and all these like toxic traits and toxic feelings that I didn't even know were still inside of me came out, and like things I'd never thought about, things I hadn't thought about in so long. I felt like I was just immediately faced with, and I think it's so strange because you expect like for that not to be the case. You don't expect for like all these issues to come up when there are no issues to be had now. And it is something that I've talked to my therapist about before I ghosted them because I'm a mess. I really need to go back to therapy. But what stuck with me was that like I felt almost guilty for having all these issues when my partner is not the one who caused any of that, and I didn't want him to feel any guilt or like any of it is any of his fault. And I had trouble even communicating that, and my therapist told me that you have to understand that even if you are with the safest person in the whole world, you will still have your issues that you will have to work through, like no matter what. It has nothing to do with them. I don't know if that's answering your question per se, but it is incredibly normal to struggle. Like one thing that's big for me is like staying in a fight, because like when I feel like I'm in confrontation, I just want to shut down and I just want to get away. Unfortunately, that's not a healthy way to get through disagreements or anything like that. So it is something I'm working through, but I feel like I would really encourage you like to just keep working through it, because if you're with the right person, they should be supportive of you and understanding. So that is pretty much everything for the Q&A. I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.